Hello, welcome to the Downtime Recap. My name is Alan. Today we're going to be talking about Activision Blizzard. We're going to talk about Astralis' deficit in their yearly report, and it is not necessarily a bad thing, but we're going to go into that. And then we're going to be talking a little bit about EVO, which was just purchased with Sony Entertainment and the RTS Group? RES Group? We'll figure it out in the news. And what that means for the fight game community, but there's a whole bunch more, so let's get right into it. First, going into Blizzard, I don't say first because Alex gets mad when I do that. Going into Blizzard, we're going to be talking about Bobby Kotick. The decades-long CEO of the company has now been retroactively awarded a whole bunch of money, $200 million, for having cleared all the shareholder goals that he had in his contracts from the previous years. And this is something that's super interesting in the sense that it's like he's gotten like gold medals after the fact, because a lot of people, including their investors and shareholders, have also said probably he shouldn't be making that much money, and people aren't going to be super happy about it as well now that they've just fired like 800 people last year. Then they closed the French office. They just, laid off 50 people in the esports department. So the OWL, or the Overwatch League, and the CDL, the Call of Duty League, are now going to be, restructuring a bit. A different executive in Blizzard, Tony Petty, actually said, and I can't believe I'm going to say this out loud, I'm not really surprised. He actually stated, "We've learned a lot in the last years in terms of how leagues can be structured for online play, and we're looking to carry forward the best practices from that." So this is also something super interesting in the fact that, they're restructuring, they're getting rid of a whole bunch of people from the OWL, and they're not doing it in the best way. Now that Mr. Kotick is getting around $200 million, it has been estimated that the junior developers in the company make 1/3% of what he makes a year, around $40,000. 1/3% is not a lot of money. People are now a little bit worried that, Blizzard Activision is turning into the new EA, and this should be like the definitive proof of that, because they are interested in shareholder price. And it is also fair that they run a business the way a business is to be run. And to be honest, Bobby Kotick was being brought in to get the shareholder price up. And when you only focus on that, you lose the StarCraft League, you lose the Overwatch League, you lose everything, but you make money. But yeah, some of the people that got laid off recently also received pay severance, for which was they get 1 year of free health insurance, because America, of course, we live in Scandinavia, so we don't, we get that. Not only that, they also got a $200 gift card to Blizzard Activision. Nice. And then they can buy all the new skins while they're sitting at home, unemployed. So going back to the Riot lawsuits that we've been talking about before, the CEO, Nicolas Laurent, has, been accused of sexual harassment by, I think her name was Sharon. Now it has been proven by a Riots Own investigative team that they have brought in from the outside that he is not guilty of any wrongdoing, and if such, there has been some other things uncovered that were pretty weird. In a sense, we're just going to read the quote out loud of what has been discovered. Since 2018, when we revamped our internal investigation process, we used a rigorous outside investigation process to ensure that any allegations against our senior leaders are investigated thoroughly and without bias, and those investigations involving our senior-most executives are overseen by a special committee of Riot's board of directors. Following the recent allegations of misconduct raised against Riot and our CEO, we're fully prepared to do so again, and the special committee of our board of directors has concluded that the review of the results of the investigation, and based on everything that we know today, there is no evidence that Nicola harassed, discriminated, or retaliated against Miss O'Donnell. So now it seems that the other lawsuit that was going on is still pending, and they were trying to make an out-of-court lawsuit, or out-of-court settlement with the plaintiffs in that matter, and they offered them $10 million, which they said, hell no, that's too low. And apparently Riot's own team was colluding with the legal team from the females, so representatives. So, they fired them, and now they're starting over again, so now that's going to be going on for another few years. But that's a quick update on the entire Riot Games lawsuit shenanigans. All the sources are below if you want to read all the information and the news articles and all that jazz. Now we're just going to talk about Astralis real quick. They have now launched their, yearly report and talked about how much money they've made and how much money they haven't made. So last year, Astralis made around a deficit of around 3 million euros, or 22.7 million Danish krone. So one of the things that they've announced this year is they've gone out and put out their yearly report, as it is a very Scandinavian thing to do. And one of the things that we've seen is that they are now at a minus of 14.5 million krone. And talking about their, income for Astralis Group is, of course, about 80% of it comes from their Counter-Strike team, 20% of it comes from other revenue sources. So what we're talking about here is the fact that it doesn't look very good for them because they have a minus, they have a deficit, their share price is going a little wishy-washy, it doesn't really instill a lot of confidence. But the thing that's really good to spot here is that they do believe in the future of Astralis and are heavily investing, and no one's shaken by it. The good thing that we think, personally here, and also from the office, is that Astralis is one of the teams that's pushing forward and trying to make this esport a mainstream with the bigger companies, like they brought in Audi. They're doing a lot more like that. Astralis seems to have a really good idea of where they're trying to move their business with the actual team. So the cool thing about Astralis is even if they went in a deficit of about 14.5 million krona, they still made an income of 51.5 million Danish, which is an amazing amount of money to be making for a Counter-Strike team. They did say that they made a little bit less this year than other years, because they were missing, prize pool tournament money. They had their little break and everything. But yeah, that's just it for Astralis. They made a little bit of a deficit, but it's not a detrimental thing. It's actually a very positive thing if you think about how much money they're actually bringing into the organization as such. So good for them. So the Android police has launched an article stating that the new Lenovo laptops that are coming on the market actually have a redeemable feature, which is 3 months of Stadia Pro tier for free. And they thought it was funny, and we thought it was funny. Let me just say, Michael Kreider thought this was funny. He was the writer of this 14 hours ago as I'm reading it now. And we have to agree, the fact that they're giving away Stadia with top tier gaming computers, when the fact is that Stadia is supposed to be a platform when you do not have a gaming computer accessible, is kind of ironic to its own sense, and it kind of proves that Stadia is right now in a sort of a limbo because of everything that's been happening, everything we've been talking about before on the news. It's like advertising for football at a basketball game. It's not really, it's a bit awkward. The company behind EVO, RTS, is now going into a collaboration purchase with Sony PlayStation Entertainment. So it seems that EVO, the biggest fight game tournament for esports players that features everything from Tekken to Street Fighter to Smash. But yeah, EVO is a huge online tournament. It's one of the biggest gatherings for people that play fight games. It is like the mecca of fight games. What's happened is that Sony has said we will now be going in a partnership, and we will be, saving the day. Like, here's money, do your thing. And also it is a good sense that Sony has said that when things normalize, that EVO will be going into greater heights. So we're looking into maybe expansion plans or something like that. It's really positive news. And they've also already gotten the first people that have been commenting towards them saying like, does this mean we're going to get rid of the Nintendo games? And no, they've already stated that they will be keeping it as a for-all platform. It is a tournament for fight games. Sony just gets to present it. So basically, Sony just stands on stage going like, hey man, you enjoyed that Nintendo trophy at our event? Cool. Cool. So there you go. Sony partnering with EVO Online to keep that tournament alive, and that is a super good piece of news. We want to get this out to as many people as possible. We don't have the highest numbers, and I know I look at it every day, but I don't really mind that. Right now we're just trying to do something we feel comfortable with and we're happy with, as we are learning by doing. So thank you so much for watching, and if you do want to do anything for us, please do share the video and also, subscribe and all that stuff, but share.